Pakistan is in crisis. A train full of military personnel and their families was hijacked on the tracks in a remote area in Balochistan province. The Separatist Baloch Liberation Army, known as the BLA, has now issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the Pakistani government. They are demanding the immediate and unconditional release of Baloch political prisoners. The train, carrying about 500 passengers, was en route from Quetta to Peshawar when it was ambushed at the entrance of a tunnel in the remote Balochistan district. Now, according to latest information, from more than 200 people are still being held hostage. Pakistan security forces managed to separate one portion of the train and brought it to Quetta. But another portion of the train is still in control of the heavily armed insurgents. The insurgents, heavily armed and strategically positioned inside a tunnel, are now holding approximately 214 hostages, among them women, children and security personnel. The BLA has issued a stringent 48-hour ultimatum to the Pakistani government, demanding the immediate and unconditional release of Baloch political prisoners. They have declared their stance as final and irrevocable, warning that any military action will result in the death of all the hostages. A portion of the Jafar Express train has now moved from the tunnel to the Quetta station. Eyewitnesses reported intense gunfire as the assailants targeted the train.
First, they hit the engine with an RPG. After that, gunfire started and explosions were heard. RPGs were used. God saved us. They made us get off the train and told us to get down or they would shoot. We got down and then they said, leave.
People were attacked, and the attackers caused a lot of damage to the passengers. Passengers were injured and some passenger died.
The Pakistan government remains tight-lipped and revealing very little information. There are several unanswered questions. How many military personnel are being held hostage at the moment? As there were initial reports that 100 security personnel with their families are still trapped. How many women and children are still inside the trapped bogies of the train? How many BLA militants are inside the train, and who are their handlers? The Pakistani security forces are engaged in a tense standoff with rescue operations underway. However, the presence of suicide bombers among the militants, who are reportedly using women and children as human shields, is complicating efforts. The rugged terrain and the train's location within the tunnel further complicates the challenges faced by the rescuers. We spoke to Mehran Mari, Baloch representative at the United Nations and EU and prominent Baloch human rights activist, who told us about the law and order problem.
Balochistan issue has been going on for 75 years, but it has been convenient for the world powers to brush it under the carpet and ignore it because it has not been highlighted to this level. Now the Baloch have taken matters into their own hands out of frustration, out of years and years of pleading and pledging to the world and the Pakistani authorities to come to a resolution for this unjust occupation. Things have gone a bit in a wrong tangent according to Pakistani liking, but this is the way history takes its course, and the future is built on what's going to happen now.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.